Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Set the umbrella out, that's better. We're at Barking St Margaret's Church. This was originally an abbey, one of the greatest and richest abbeys in England, in fact. This is the curfew tower. This and the church are the only original bits from the abbey time that remain. The church was the nuns' chapel then. This was a curfew gate. When the bell rang, that was curfew time, because you had curfew back in those days where everyone had to be in at a certain time. Yeah, I think this is 1200s, I believe, and the church is of the same kind of origin. There's an information board here. Barking Abbey. The abbey was founded in the year 666, which unusually for a religious foundation, you would think, what the hell? But they thought that founding a religious institution in a bad number might break the bad luck kind of thing. The Vikings struck and burned the abbey in 871. The abbey was refounded as a royal abbey under the House of Essex. It became a female nunnery. 1066. You can pause these things and read them as you want. 1173. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. The young Edmund and Jasper Tudor. Edmund Tudor was the father of King Henry VII, so would have been the grandfather of King Henry VIII. And that was its last days, the abbey, under Henry VIII. And that's the abbey as it was. Right, shows you it was really literally one of the biggest and richest abbeys in the land, which is why it went quite quickly. The curfew tower, I'd like to get in this. I'll ask. I don't even know if I'll be able to get into the church and film today, because it's sort of an ad hoc thing, whether people are busy, whether there's services or things going on. I was able to do it once, but I know the people quite well here, so they're usually fairly obliging. People weren't actually this short in those days. The door was made small so it was easy to defend, because obviously this place got burned and sacked by the Vikings once, and then you had the Wars of the Roses and all that business. Churches and abbeys were places to keep safe when an invasion or something bad struck, so they were made so they could be defended. Show you a little bit of the outside of the church, and a little bit of what I like is like living history. Very old memorial of a very rich ex-parishioner who left a lot of money to look after the poor when he died, same as this white one over there. The old captain is the white one. This one here, all being restored and repaired now, so I like that kind of thing. We'll go around here. I'll stop this one, and if I can get in and film, which fingers crossed, then I'll get Rob to join them for us, and you'll get a continual video of a tour of the church. It's a beautiful church inside and out, a lot of history, and a lot of my own family histories here. My ancestors were of this parish. They lived in Barkingside, but Barkingside didn't have its own church until the 1830s, so this was the church for Barkingside. And my ancestors, like, this was their parish church for, I think it was about 290 to 295 years, nearly 300 years, until the Industrial Revolution really struck in, and my lot all moved up to the East End to work in the docks and the factories. Left their farming life in countryside in Barkingside. Even this was Barking, where we are now, although it's classed as East London or Inner London kind of thing now. It was Essex in those days. This was an Essex country town. So would be unrecognisable to many of the people that are resting here now, I can assure you. They have a lot of vandalism here, unfortunately. That was vandalised quite badly, that one. Right. In we go. St Margaret's Centre, that's how you get in now. So yeah, we'll go in and see if we can have a look around. Right, hopefully, fingers crossed, and I'll see you all soon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is just for my YouTube channel, because I'm trying to build up some more interesting content for you all. We're in the Abbey Church of St Margaret's at Barking. The Abbey at Barking. Barking Abbey was once one of the largest and richest abbeys in the land. Very rich history. Founded in the year 666, and then got rid of when Henry VIII came along. The only remaining parts of the abbey, as you see with the first part of the video, are the curfew tower and this church, and there are some remains of the abbey foundations, which we'll go and see. But if you check out my London Luke Facebook page, I can't put pictures on YouTube, but basically up there is medieval paintings, and I brought a really bright torch with me today and managed to show them up. So I'll grab the torch again and see if I can show them to you. Basically what they are these. And that one there. That's what they are. It showed up well with the iPhone. Yeah, you can just see a bit of it there. And some of it there. But do check out my London Luke Facebook page, because there'll be pictures and everything and whatnot, so if you like that kind of thing. These are the church wardens, basically staffs of office really. In the old days it's what they used to keep the unruly children in check with. It really is a beautiful old church, as you can see. 296 years my ancestors were here. I couldn't remember exactly where it was, but I checked it. So 296 years worth of my ancestors were christened there, married there, and buried outside in the churchyard. This just through here is the church centre. That wasn't there in those days. The door didn't exist or anything, so these windows just opened onto the outside. The church centre was built more or less in our lifetimes, and they've done a really decent job of it. As you can see, they've kept the integrity of the stained glass window and stuff. So lovely. I mean, just look like the architecture that goes into these. Each one is different in some way or other. Yeah, and they're each different on the other side as well. Oh, smell a strong smell of pipe smoke. Someone must be outside smoking. Just the main door is just through there, so people do sit there sometimes. But yeah, each one of these is obviously hand carved, and they're each different. And the detail that goes into them. I mean, this is my favourite one, this. I will take a picture of that, particularly that one. That's stunning. I like that. Very nice. And where are... Ah, here we are. These are the church warden's seats, these here. And when the service is on, their rods will go there. And this is where the church wardens will sit. Church wardens had to keep order in the old days because people were a little bit, or could be a little bit unruly, which in a church they're not going to want, are they? Didn't realise there was a step there. Fell down there. Only a mini step, but made me jump. I mean, just the absolute stunning architecture of this place alone. I think you'll agree. I'm going slowly because I'm not filming on the iPhone. I can't do pre-records on my iPhone. It just keeps filling it up and crashing the entire thing. So we're on the smartphone, but this is good enough. I can't go live on YouTube until I get 50 subscribers, and I'm nowhere near there yet, so it's going to be pre-records. But I wanted to build up some of my content for you, like, because some of the bits and bobs I've put on aren't as interesting as what's on my Facebook page. There you have St Ethelberg, St Erkenwald, and these ones over here. Let me just come from about switching anything. That is Captain James Cook, Elizabeth Fry, both of whom had links to this church. And if it's not belting it down with rain when I'm done here, I'll go to the Quaker burial ground and show you the memorial stone for Elizabeth Fry, because she's actually buried in the mother house at Wanstead, but she is remembered there as well, and here. Captain James Cook married in this church. So there's a little piece of history for you. Carol, one of the church wardens on my last visit, was really kind and told me a lot of history on this place that some of it I didn't know. So yeah, I'll be a little bit quieter now because we're at the high altar. All these really elaborate and fancy memorials I have taken pictures of. So if you couldn't make... Oh, that made me jump. That organ keeps making clicking noises. I don't know whether they're warming it up or something, or someone's in there, but... Well, it's better than what they used to do in the olden days when they were pumped by hand and used to make, say it politely, wind-breaking noises. Which, of course, for the congregation and obviously the priest sometimes was highly amusing, but some people didn't find it funny. The stunning detail. You could literally walk around a place like this. I mean, this is on my page. This is one of my pages. I mean, this is the second thing I've ever done, like for pages. But myself, where I've been researching my family history, which was here for so long, I've been a lot myself. But other than the family history, really, it's only in recent that I started getting into social history, and particularly things like this. So I've learned quite a few things about it. That is just amazing. Every time I come here, it never ceases to, what's the word? Leave you in awe. It's just such a lovely place. Slightly morbid, I know, but they always put skulls on graves in those days. It was to remind the living of mortality and to be nice. Look at that lovely piano. I'd love to play that, but I wouldn't even dare. Would it get thrown out? I'm only amateur anyway with what I do. An amateur enthusiast with my playing, so yeah. This is interesting, this one, because this was I think, I could be wrong, something to do with Queen Charlotte, I think. Oh, William. But basically, I'll find out more about it. But basically, this tomb was repaired at the expense of All Souls College in Oxford, Anno Domini 1784. So the tomb obviously is older than that to have been repaired then. Oh, that must be how you get down into the crypt. How interesting. Of Barking, spelled Barkyng, ESSEXQUA. Oh god, exquisite. A lot of history in these places, and London Luke loves history. And because I've got so many ties to this church anyway from my own ancestry, I just love the place. Someone said to me before that it's probably something called spirit of place, like because my lot was here for so long. Whether you believe in things or not, there might be something that ties you. These little windows in nuns' chapels were normally because men and women weren't supposed to mix. So they'd normally be where the nuns would receive their prayers from the priest and the host and things like that, because obviously they weren't allowed to mix for obvious reasons. This is one of the most impressive memorials. It's Captain John Bennett. I've taken pictures and I've got a guidebook that Carol gave me before, so that'll be on London Luke Facebook, and I'll do some things on Instagram as well. I think on Instagram I'm called London Luke _explores. This is one of the oldest memorials. That would have been brass where they are. Could have come out, may have been removed in the Reformation days if it had Catholic or Popish or Papish connotations, as they call it. One of my own ancestors, he was called Sir Nicholas Tufton, and he come from Northiam in Sussex, and him and his wife are buried. A big plain marble slab that had brasses on it and stuff. His wife died before the Reformation, and hers was obviously full of Papish stuff. So none of her brass or anything exists. They chiselled it away, and all that remains of him is his figure and just his name underneath. All the Catholic stuff's all gone. It was a case of either get rid of that or the whole grave's going to go. So, yeah. People would not have been happy in the Reformation. And this, don't forget that abbeys, they did so much for the poor and the needy. I mean, yeah, they were probably a bit greedy and lined their own pockets as well, like it's human nature. But I really do mean it. I can't express it enough. When the abbeys went, people were in a real terrible state. Bad state, because you had the abbey infirmaries where people would go when they were sick. Even the rich, anyone that's watched Cadfile, even the rich, because there was no real brilliant great doctors. I mean, they'd bleed you and do some horrific things. So a lot of the rich people, even themselves, and don't forget the rich ones were patrons and patronesses of the abbeys, so when they got sick they'd send for the infirmera, brother infirmera, like Cadfile, and he'd treat them. And when that was all swept away, that's when you got things like Christ Church Hospital. St Bart's went over to rather as a clerical hospital, a church type thing. It went to state rather, civilian, whatever you want to call it. That is beautiful, that piano. I'll try and keep this one under half an hour if I can, but this one has not been shown on my YouTube before, and it was one of the first I did on London Luke Facebook, and this was in the early days, and I was really bad at technology at the time. I've come on a long way since then, and I wasn't filming it in HD, and it was a bit dodgy, so this one shouldn't be too bad. These are the old collection pouches for when, like when they go around and collect after the services and stuff. Oh, I forgot to go around there, sorry. There's so much. This door is where you come in for church services, Sundays and weddings and things like that and whatnot. It's closed over. You come through the church centre, but the chapel you can come in pretty much most days. And the people here are really, really lovely. You couldn't wish to find nicer people. Hence probably why I keep coming back to the place. Yeah, this is all like a history wall thing. The remains. The vicar was in today as well, so it was nice to see the vicar. When a place of worship, whether you have strong beliefs or not, when a place of worship like is this old, you can feel it. It's got such a lovely feeling to it as well. Spirit of place they call it, don't they? And here, something I can never resist. A cabinet full of antiquities. Illuminated documents. That's something I do as a hobby. I get it like as a grayscale and then colour it myself. No, not how these would have done. But that's the curfew tower. Look how stunning that is. I might take a picture of that and see if I can make that at home, but in a different colour scheme maybe. David, one of my page members, drew some lovely pictures of St Margaret's, and I've left them in the visitor book as a gift to the church kind of thing. And I'll pop a donation in when I go, so I always do. Churches always need a lot of money to, especially old ones, they need repairs all the time. And I'd be very, very sad indeed to see this one go. Stunning stained glass. I'm walking slowly and carefully because I've got trainers with big soles on and they make a noise. And anyone that knows me knows I'm very, very respectful in churches, whatever church I go into. Something I want to tell you, like class divide, as they say. And I know this one myself, and my own family were part of this one. It's quite interesting, actually. Church wardens would have sat there, as I said. The richer people, like Elizabeth Fry, Captain Cook, people like that, and their families, the very rich, would have sat there. I had family that Maywood, that were tradesmen, middle class. So they would have sat round in these kinds of pews. They lived in Barking, the Maywoods. But my Lee ancestors, who were poor farmers that lived out at Barking side, this is where they would have sat at the back. And no one really seemed to mind. It was just done like that for hundreds of years. So yeah, and considering it was the same family, it must have been quite awkward, mustn't it, really? But yeah. Look, this is stunning. Can I get round there? I don't think I can. If I go inside this pew, carefully, there you will see a colour illustration of Barking Abbey. And you'll see exactly what I mean and what Carol told me about it being one of the richest and biggest abbeys in the land. Such a shame all the abbeys were taken away, really. Can you imagine what historical treasures they would have been, particularly one like this? This church that we're in now was the nuns' church. Once the abbey went, it became a parish church, and that's how it was saved. Let me just get my information booklet, because, here we are, the font. The font cover is designed by Jessie Jack. I'm trying to find the thing about the font. Church over here. basically, the font, the person who made it or whatnot, it has links to, I think it was Christopher Dresser, I could be completely wrong there, but basically it was someone very well known. I thought that would have been in there. I'll read through. But the font, sorry, pointing down, the font is quite amazing anyway. So. These are those little statues I told you about, look. Captain James Cook, Elizabeth Fry, and St Ethelberg. St Ethelberg was the abbess of Barking Abbey. Barking Abbey was founded by her brother St Erkenwald, a modern fisherman from the 1920s. Oh, I liked this one as well. This was at the altar at the other end, early in the morning. It's modern art. It's really nice. I like that. The Barking coat of arms. I will try and find out more about the font, because it was one of the main things. Which is there, of course. Oh, here we are. I'll read it to you. Looking west, back of the church, you will notice the ornate font which dates from the Spanish Armada of 1588. And that's interesting. And it is said to have been given to St Margaret's by grateful sailors as a gift to God for ensuring their safe passage through the battle. Designed by Jessie Jack, daughter of arts and crafts figure George Jack. It was nothing to do with Dresser, please forgive me with that. George Jack. He was very, very well known, famous craftsman. But look, it's the lid, which is the most stunning thing. And those birds sound absolutely lovely, which is nice. Nice touch. I hope you can hear them. And that says, God hath given to us eternal life, and this life is in his Son. And that's one of the verses, obviously, from the Bible and things like that. May have something to do with the baptismal rite, I don't know. But yeah, I love this font because, for me, look at it and I know that 295 years of my ancestors, rich or poor, were held over this and christened. Apart from some of the Maywoods, they were Quakers, so I don't know. They were a kind of halfway family because they worshipped at the Quaker house, but Samuel Maywood, who was a Quaker, a practicing Quaker, is buried outside in the churchyard here, in a Church of England church, because I think he wanted to be buried next to his parents. But I don't know how that would have worked. Right. Show you these banners because these were really nice. I liked these. The Royal Arms up there. Oh look, there's a door there. That's interesting. This door takes you into the bell tower, where the public aren't really allowed. It says something on there about you must only be accompanied by a bell ringer. This, I was told, is from the old Abbey time, and there's a coffin, child's coffin. This would have been an altar to a particular saint, possibly to Our Lady the Virgin Mary. Right, and I'm going to check my guide again because I need to find out about what this little chapel is over here. Because you know me, I like to give accurate details. It's the Lady Chapel. That there is the sacristy and the high altar, and this over here is the Lady Chapel. That piano just made a rattling noise or a clicking noise. Poor thing's desperate to be played. Barking St Margaret. And all this is behind here is the back of the workings of the organ. Heard the organ playing actually when I've been outside in the churchyard before. Very impressive. Puts anything that I can do to shame, literally. As I said anyway, with my playing, I'm just an amateur enthusiast. Very amateur. I love this stained glass window, it's really nice. It's one of the nicest ones here, I think. In my humble opinion. Here lies the body of Paul. Paul Stevens, gent. (1708), and that's his coat of arms there. Elizabeth Upney. That's their family coat of arms. Oh, I wonder if no, it's different, slightly different. And I shall end you soon with my act of private worshipping. Not worship, but a quiet moment and whatnot. You've got like candles in the Lady Chapel there, so I'm not overly religious, but it doesn't hurt to show respect. And one of the things with churches, and it can't be helped, is that wherever you go, you walk on graves. And I really, really hate that, walking on people's graves. More coats of arms and stuff. 1711, that one. Abraham Williner. Abraham. It's a Jewish name, that is. I wonder if he, well, I shouldn't imagine he was Jewish, but you never know. Anne. Eliza. And obviously this is the organ. Very impressive. And the sacristy, the high altar. This is pretty impressive as well, this memorial. It's the carvings on them that get me. Right, ladies and gentlemen, should get you back to the font, and then I'll end this one there. Barking coat of arms. I didn't check this memorial out over here. That's the Barking coat of arms that we saw in the book. But this one, I mean, obviously, this is going to be a someone. Near this place lies the body of Signor Orlando Humphreys of Lenkins in the parish of Bar. He departed this life on the 4th day of June in the year of our Lord. Oh gosh, it's in Lane. I'll look in the book and find that out. But yeah, that's obviously him. Right. And these are the drawings that David did, which I'll leave there. Hopefully they'll notice them. Should be a nice surprise. They've been really decent with me here over the years anyway, like very accommodating, letting me film and take pictures, and a couple of people I know quite well anyway, so lovely, very nice. Take care everyone, hope you found this interesting. If you do, please give it a like and a share.